What's going on, everyone? Welcome back. Today I wanted to showcase a Pokemon that has not been viable in the Open Great League for years, Shadow Hypno. Now, this Pokemon has a lot of bulk, it has a lot of great moves to use, but it's always been a little bit clunky with the energy generation as well as the typing that it has. But now, in the current season, Confusion has received a buff. It is now so much spammier to its attacks here. I'm running Thunder Punch as well as Ice Punch on it here today, but you can run different moves. Shadow Ball, Psyshock, Focus Blast if you want to run a crazy attack as well. So a lot of variations if you want to try to run something a little bit crazier than I am here. I'm going to pair it up with a Cradily as well as a Galarian Moltres. The tale as old as time. The Dark plus Hypno Core was very good back in the day. I'm bringing it back here in the current season, so let's see how it does. First game of the day, Galarian Moltres as our lead up against a Shadow Dragonair. A pretty neutral matchup, but because Dragon Breath's damage is no longer quite as high as it was in previous seasons here, we can see our Fast Food Pressure is adding up quite a bit against them, whereas they're not going to do quite as much against us. I'm going to no-shield whatever they're going to throw here. They're going to go for the Wrap, which will lower my defense stat, but a Fly is going to likely either knock out or draw their first shield. Our opponent has a decision to make, and they're going to go for the immediate shield on their Shadow Dragonair. Confusion damage now going to come in from our Shadow Hypno. They try to catch an Ice Punch on the Corviknight, but luckily Thunder Punch is going to be thrown instead. Super effective damage against his Flying-type Pokemon. How much is it going to do? Honestly, a pretty sizable amount of damage here. That's two-shot range, especially after the Confusion damage. Our opponent might go for an Air Cutter bait, but I know a Payback would one-shot us. I want to keep my Hypno around if possible. We shield the bait. Don't love to see that, but Thunder Punch is going to be thrown right after. This move is going to either draw their final shield or get a knockout. We do see a shield here from our opponent. Just two more Confusions to our next Thunder Punch. Look how spammy we are. Our opponent not realizing that we were so close to our next attack. That is the pacing difference here of Hypno. We're able to knock out the Corviknight. In comes that Dragonair, but they can't quite farm us down. They're forced to throw energy against us. I know he would survive this move, but at this point, I think the shield advantage in the back line is going to be great for my Cradily plus my Moltres. They actually come in with their own Confusion user. They're going to be using the Cresselia, not quite as spammy of a Pokemon, but another Pokemon that used to be kind of good here in the Open Great League. But I don't think this Cresselia is going to want to see my Sucker Punch user. We resist Psychic-type damage with our Dark typing, and super effective Sucker Punch as well as Brave Bird should be more than enough to shred through this Cresselia. In comes our attack here. This is going to be more than enough to knock out this Pokemon, and I think a couple of Sucker Punches will knock out that Dragonair. We should be able to pick up the win here in the first game of the day. Next matchup, we're going to see Galarian Moltres up against an Impoleon, and at this point, I'm very happy my backline doesn't get to see this Pokemon, but surprisingly enough, they actually swap out instantly here into a Dragon Breath user. The Altaria comes in, and it looks like that might have been a CMP against this as well. Interesting play by our opponent doing this. I don't think Altaria is generally a very safe Pokemon, but I guess I don't have a hard counter in my team. I'm going to go for the no-shield on this Sky Attack, knowing that I do pretty comfortably survive it here. And at this point, just fast move them down as much as we can. Can't quite get the full fast move farm down before they're able to get another move, but our Shadow Hypno comes in, it goes for some Confusions, and at this point, our opponent throws an attack against us. They're going to go for the Flamethrower, I guess. I don't even know. Does that do more raw damage than just one Sky Attack? It must if they throw it there. Or maybe they're just experimenting. I don't even know. Either way, I go for the Thunder Punch when we see the Empoleon come right back in. And look at the damage that Thunder Punch is able to do. That's going to put them deep into the red, almost into range where we might even be able to Confusion down if we need to. Our opponent goes for a Drill Peck. I guess I don't really know what they're doing right now. They're throwing all the strange moves. It's still fine because we're going to go for this next Thunder Punch, knock him out, or draw their first shield. And now, while we will get knocked out, our Cradily is not going to have to worry about an Empoleon this game. We can Sucker Punch this all the way down, get a lot of energy on our Galarian Moltres, and then hope that Cradily in the backline is going to have some play. Our opponent brings in their final Pokemon. It is actually a Dragon Breath Shadow Giratina. I'm kind of surprised they swapped out of that lead matchup if they had a Ghost type in the back, but you know what? I guess we'll see what we can do here. I know I survived a charge attack here from Giratina. They go for the Ancient Power, no boost. Love to see that. And Rock Tomb going to follow up to try to get a shield here, or maybe some good damage against this Pokemon. Our opponent is going to go for that first shield, and at this point, I think I have a Brave Bird actually loaded on my Moltres, so if that is the case, I should just be able to land that move to win this game. I'm going to go for a Rock Tomb here in just a second to try to get any more chip damage against him that I can. Our opponent attempts the catch. I guess they do get the catch off, but I had to knock out this Altaria one way or another, and at this point, a Brave Bird from my Moltres is going to be more than enough to knock out this Giratina. I go for one more Sucker Punch, and then this Brave Bird here to do as much damage as I can before getting Dragon Breath down, but Brave Bird picks up the knockout, and we're able to take the win. Next game, Moltres up against the Carbink. Okay, great. I'm going to have to swap out of here immediately. Carbink, one of, if not just like the worst Pokemon that Galarian Moltres could see. Not only are both Rock and Fairy good against my Dark and Flying type Pokemon, but all my damage is resisted, and it's a very bulky Pokemon at that. So I swap out here into our Hypno. They come in with a Toedscruel, a Pokemon that by no means counters an Ice Punch user up energy. I think at this point, we should be able to flip switch here this game, and as long as switch advantage goes in our favor, our Cradily is going to land up into that was it the Carbink in the lead, right? So this is going to be fantastic for us as long as this Toedscruel is going to try to double shield through us. We always get the shield advantage, or the very least switch advantage if we need it. They go for another Seed Bomb. We do go for that final shield. Ice Punch is going to be thrown, just guarantee the knockout against this Pokemon. And at this point, Toedscruel will go down. They will get a farm down, though, with that Carbink potentially, or not. Okay, they come in with the Golurk instead. That's interesting. They take so much confusion damage. That was like, what, 3 confusions doing about half their HP? Love to see that here. And Carbink comes right back in, but Cradily is going to match it as quickly as we can. 2 Grass Knots should be enough to knock them out. Let's see what they're going to throw into us. Moonblast would do quite a bit, but Rock Slide would be a little bit spammier. They do opt for the Moonblast here. I think at this point, though, just 2 Grass Knots is basically enough to knock them out, but I am a little bit worried this game. The way that I lose this match is if I give that Golurk a lot of energy. If they're going to be able to land both a Dynamic Punch as well as a Shadow Punch into my Galarian Moltres, I might lose this game. So I'm going to undercharge this. I don't want to knock them out. I want to instead get an energy lead on my own Moltres to make it so they cannot outpace us there with that Ground and Ghost-type Pokemon in the backline. Rock Slide knocks us out. I'm going to go into our Moltres here. They come back in with that Golurk, and because they don't have enough of an energy lead, while they will be able to land this Dynamic Punch, they are never going to get a Shadow Punch off against us. We're able to Sucker Punch all the way down, and that Carbink at this point is too low to knock out our Moltres. We Sucker Punch them down as well, and we pick up the win once again. Next game, Moltres into Shadow Dragonite, another Dragon-type lead here in this video. I think this is going to be very similar to that Dragonair matchup, although I guess not quite as similar. I'm actually forced to shield because they have access to Thunder Punch potentially. I'm going to shield this up our opponent, showing Thunder Punch is on their moveset, so a good shield by us. But look at our Sucker Punch damage. I guess Shadow Dragonite even squishier than Dragonair because this Pokemon is all the way in the red after just 10 Sucker Punches. Down goes our first shield. I can just go for a catch action on our Hypno. Why not? See what they're going to throw. Thunder Punch not going to do too much. They're actually going to go for the Superpower as well. That honestly does more than I would like it to do. But they come in with their Gastrodon here, and this Pokemon is a little bit awkward for a Cradily to see, so I'm happy that I baited this out, but they go for a Charge Attack. What's it going to be? It's going to be a Water Pulse that comes through, knocks out my Hypno, but now I can bring right back in my Galarian Moltres and try our best to neutralize this threat. They go for an attack here against us. I want to make sure that I have some energy in the backline against them if possible, so I'm going to go for some more Sucker Punches, go for a Fly as well in just a second. Our opponent could potentially shield this if they want to get a Body Slam into us. Let's see what they want to do. They do let it go down, and who is in the backline? Hopefully something in the back is good for a Cradily to see. Our opponent thinking for just a second. Oh man, and unfortunately for us, it's going to be an Empoleon in the backline. This Pokemon might be a little bit too tricky to take down. I don't know if we can beat this. They go for the shield as well on that Brave Bird. I need to land a Grass Knot if I want any chance to win this game, but they're going to be, I think, just a little bit too ahead on energy here for us to win this. One Hydro Cannon doesn't quite knock us out, but the second one, they could have gone for a CMP there. I had to call like a catch or something, but no matter what, this Hydro Cannon will knock us out. Unfortunately, Cradily finding almost nowhere to go here in the back line. Well played to our opponent. Next game is Galarian Moltres up against a Corviknight. Fantastic lead matchup. It is a little bit more awkward than I'd like it to be. Saying Sucker Punch, while it is neutral, is about our only good damage that we have against this Pokemon. Keep in mind, though, Corviknight also doesn't have any fast attack pressure against us, so it's awkward for both sides. Air Cutter, is it going to boost? They do boost instantly. Don't love to see that. Sucker Punch damage is adding up quite a bit here. I think they're getting close to range where 2 Flies could knock them out. Air Cutter number 2 after that boost is going to do just a little bit more damage, but Sand Attack is still just doing, I think, 1 damage per turn here, so Moltres should be able to survive the fast attack pressure pretty easily. The first Fly comes through, doesn't quite knock him out, but the second one is almost certainly going to. And Moltres is still decently healthy. I wouldn't be surprised if there's a Mud Slapper in the back line. So if possible, maybe I want to save this Pokemon. And yeah, they come in with a Carbink, so might as well swap out. Keep my Moltres around if I can. Our confusion damage is going to add up quite a bit. But these Rock Throws as well doing a decent chunk of damage to us. I have to go for a shield here on what might be a Rock Slide. Could be a Moonblast either. Let's see what they're going to go for. Moonblast, so a very heavy hitting move. I go for the shield on that. Very efficient move to shield up though here on our Hypno. Ice Punch going to be thrown right now. Do we see a shield? Our opponent doesn't respect any crazy nuke move that we could have had. We're going to go for Ice Punch once again. We have back-to-back attacks, but our Hypno at this point is getting pretty low just with fast attack pressure. This is where Carbink is a little bit annoying in these neutral matchups. I go for another Ice Punch, but they catch on a Giratina. Okay, you know, I'm kind of fine with that. I have Ice Punch. They shield that up, unfortunately for us. I was hoping they would just let that go, but we're still in a fantastic spot here where these Sucker Punches as well as this Fly is going to be able to put them pretty low, or I guess draw their final shield. Even more Sucker Punch damage is going to come through them, but our opponent does do a full farm down against our Galarian Moltres. I know Dragon Claw is not anywhere near as bad of a move as it used to be, so it's going to come through and do quite a bit of damage, honestly, to our Cradily. They're already at their next attack, and I know this is going to be a bit awkward because their switch clock is coming back up, but the thing that I also know is even if they do make a catch, I think that's fine because they have energy on this Carbink. And so what I can do here is I can actually just go for a full undercharge, and if they want to knock us out, they can be my guest. But what I'm going to do instead is let my Cradilly go down, come back in with my Hypno, get a Confusion Energy lead, and then be in range where just one more Confusion, we'll be able to go for an Ice Punch here. This way, we are not even going to have to worry about losing this game off that catch. We can go for the tactical play of farming up with our Hypno. This Ice Punch will knock out, and we're able to pick up the win. Alright, next game, we're going to see Galarian Moltres up against the Shadow Impoleon, a very good lead because our backlane doesn't want anything to do with this Pokemon. Our Sucker Punch damage, as you can see here, is going to shred through their HP. The only awkward part about this matchup for us is that Fly is resisted by the Steel typing, so that means I'm going to maybe not be able to draw a shield here. Let's see, though. I mean, Empoleon is kind of squishy. They might still have to shield this Fly up. Let's see what's going to happen. Our opponent might try to survive. I would love it if they no-shield, but they do end up shielding that attack here. But I'm going to go for the 2-shield farm down against them and use as much energy as I can in the backline to maybe get our shields back. Hydro Cannon drawing our final shield here. Togekiss does come in, but now a Fly going to be thrown right on into them here. This move is going to do a lot, maybe put them into a Confusion downrange or draw their first shield, or their final shield that is, and now Hypno can come in, hoping that they're on Aura Sphere as well as Psyshock. We go for some confusions. Our opponent throws a move here. What's it going to be? Is it Dazzling Gleam? No, they are not on that moveset, so I'm going to go instantly for the Thunder Punch. I don't want to take another move here if I can help it. Our Hypno is still very healthy. Thunder Punch is going to end up knocking out the Togekiss, and we'll see that they actually end up coming in with their Gastrodon. So at this point, I go for the Ice Punch as quickly as we can. We know their full team, and I'm pretty sure we're in a very good spot to win this game. Ice Punch, while it doesn't do too much damage, does chip them down a little bit, and now Empoleon comes back in, but they have to throw energy if they want to knock out my Hypno. This move is going to knock out Hypno, but at this point, this is all of their energy down the drain. I can bring in my Galarian Moltres, go for the full Sucker Punch down, and while Gastrodon might be able to go for a Water Pulse to knock us out, our Cradilly in the backline, having access to Grass Knot, is going to be a fantastic spot. In comes a move here. It's going to be the Water Pulse. Down goes our Galarian Moltres, but just a couple of acids plus a Grass Knot will easily knock out this Gastrodon. Our opponent doesn't have the damage to knock us out, and we're able to outpace them. We go for the Grass Knot, and this will KO the Water and Ground type. Down goes that Gastrodon. Moltres putting in a lot of work, as well as Shadow Hypno. Cradilly, I guess, just closing out the game for us. Next game here is actually another Shadow Empoleon lead. Let's see what we can do in this one. Sucker Punch damage, once again, is shredding through their HP, but this can be a little bit awkward, as I talked about in the last matchup, because if they end up going for a no-shield on a Fly, and it actually doesn't knock out, maybe they can get both of our shields for free here. So actually, this game, I'm going to try something different. I'm going to go for the 2-shield complete farm down against them, just to get 100 energy against the backline and see what we can do. Our opponent is actually letting the full farm down happen. I love to see that. Down goes that Empoleon here. In comes an Altaria, so I go for the Brave Bird instantly. We do overfarm a little bit past 100 energy. I probably shouldn't have done that. Probably should have instantly thrown. Our opponent does shield that up, so I swap into our Shadow Hypno, and we are met by a Galarian Corsola. At this point, I'm going to go for an Ice Punch. This could be a Shadow Ball if I actually had access to that. That's how quick Hypno is nowadays, but our opponent is going to no-shield the Ice Punch. Good call by them. Don't love to see that. And at this point, down goes our Hypno. This Nightshade will knock us out. I can bring back in my Moltres, but this is going to be a little bit uncomfortable. They have some energy here, as well as a shield left over on this Pokemon. I go for the Fly on what could have been a CMP with a Nightshade, but they go for the Overfarm instead. In comes that Fly, down goes their final shield. I swap into my Cradilly, trying to go for a catch on the Power Gem, but our opponent is going to just be a little bit too patient. They come in with their Altaria, and I think they have just enough of an energy lead to get to 2 Sky Attacks before we're going to be able to get to 2 Rock Tombs. This first Rock Tomb is going to come through. It's super effective damage, but I think Altaria is bulky enough here to pretty easily survive the attack. And in comes their next Sky Attack here. I think they can just barely outpace us before this next Rock Tomb. They do throw their energy. Because of the debuff, I think I do survive this, but I don't think it really matters. It's still going to put us way too low. I need to save this energy for that Corsola. I have to hope that I can farm this down with our Moltres, but they still outpace us. This is the pacing on Altaria just coming in handy for our opponent right now. Can't quite dance around them as much as I'd like to. We can come back in with our Cradilly, but can't quite acid down. They take the win. GG to them. Next game, Shadow Dragonite in the lead up against our Galarian Moltres, and this, as we've seen earlier in the video, not a bad matchup. I can 2-shield through them pretty easily. Our Sucker Punch damage is shredding through their HP. Thunder Punch obviously is going to be part of their moveset now, so we have to shield these up and see what they want to do. They are going to stay in here for just a second, but once again, I'm going to go for as much Fasting Pressure as I can, and then go for a Fly here to try to get their first shield. Our opponent is going to go for the shield. I'm going to go for the catch on our Hypno, and we sneak a full Confusion through at the same exact time, putting this Pokemon down deep into the red. We have an energy lead here, and now we end up baiting out a Shadow Kanto Marowak, actually. Ice Punch being super effective damage. Do they want to shield this? I guess they might at this point. They do shield the move up, and now we're in such a great spot. They're going to go for a Bone Club against us, which will knock us out. Actually, I think I might survive this just barely. I wish I did get knocked out, though, because this just gives them a free extra Mud Slap. Either way, our Moltres has so much energy on it. I might as well come back in with it here, go for a fly right before a rock slide can be reached. If that Dragonite comes in, I just go for a full Sucker Punch down, and if they show their final Pokemon, I might even be able to go for a Brave Bird. Our opponent brings in an Empoleon here. I know what's going to happen. I know they're going to have to try to catch if they want any chance to win this game. So I'm going to keep on farming until I see that Dragonite come in, knock them out with fast moves, and then Brave Bird this Empoleon after the fact. Our opponent going for that catch. There it is. In comes that Empoleon. But now Brave Bird should be enough to knock out this Empoleon. And we don't even need our Cradily at this point. Brave Bird coming through. Down goes the Steel-type Pokemon. Moltres popping off. Same with Shadow Hypno. Once again, that duo is doing so much work. Cradily is honestly just kind of there for the ride. Next game, I guess we might need to rely on our Cradily against this one. That Togekiss lead not looking too good. And that Galarian Moltres counter swap looking, or Galarian Corsola, that is, counter swap looking even worse for us. In comes an Ice Punch into the Corsola, and we do draw a shield this time. This trainer is respecting the fact that Shadow Ball is an option on Hypno. They go for a Nightshade here to knock us out, and I'm going to come in with our Moltres, try to farm them down as much as we can. We know at this point that energy on Moltres would be very strong into that Togekiss. They're not that bulky of a Pokemon, right? So if I get enough energy here, it's not going to be the end of the world. They're going to go for a Power Gem, and at this point, our opponent is actually going to swap out into the Togekiss. Pretty smart play by them. Honestly, I don't like that they did that, but it is very heads up, because that means now I can't get a lot of energy against them. I'm going to have to swap into my Cradily, and the problem is they gave Togekiss access to a very cheap fighting type move here. Aurasphere is going to do so much damage, and if they swapped back into Togekiss, that likely means in the backline is something that's going to be good into our Moltres. I don't love doing it, but I have to use my shield here. If I don't, then my Moltres is going to be chipped down even further. I have to go for that Rock Tomb to knock them out. I'm going to go for it, knock them out with this attack, but at this point, I don't have a lot of HP or energy on my Cradily, and my Moltres at this point, too, is a little bit low on HP. They come in with an Empoleon. What a catch by our opponent, though. They catch the move. I kind of had to throw then. I was going to get knocked out by those metal sounds, but, you know, they played well. They got the catch there, so GG to our opponent. Very well played. Next matchup is Moltres up against Venusaur. Okay, I love that matchup. That is one of the best things that we can see here. We're ABA strong to this. Both our Confusion user and our Flying type are very good into that matchup. They say swap a Charizard, but they throw before we get a fly. That mathematically cannot be a Blast Burn. We no-shield, very confidently calling the Air Cutter bait, and because of that, now this Charizard is in such a tricky spot. We're going to go for the fly right now. This is going to get their first shield, and because this is actually a non-shadowed Charizard, it's going to be a little bit harder to farm them down, but we make another nasty play. We catch the next move, which is almost certainly another Air Cutter. We get a full Confusion Sneak as well. Our opponent is going to try to reach a Blast Burn, but they can't quite get there. Hypno with the full farm down, so much energy, and they show their full team. Oh my goodness, Hypno, it's looking pretty good for you right now. We're going to go for this Ice Punch against this Venusaur. Super effective damage, Confusion damage as well, super effective. It doesn't knock them out before they reach a Sludge. We have the Thunder Punch as well for this Feraligatr. Triple starter team, that's pretty cool, but, you know, what's even cooler is Hypno just, I guess, destroying this entire lineup. Shadow Claw is doing super effective damage to us. We're just going to go for fast attack pressure at this point. Put them down deep into the red, and man, Hypno putting in so much work against that team. Love to see it. Next game, Galarian Moltres into Azumarill. And at this point, this is not a great lead matchup for us, but we have two Pokemon in the backline with super effective coverage against them. We say swap Hypno. They bring in a second Water-type Pokemon. Yikes, okay, not what I want to see here, but luckily we go for the Thunder Punch before they throw an attack. If they go for the no-shield, I can actually flip switch advantage in this game, which is exactly what ends up happening. Our opponent going for one Hex and then throwing their next move here. Very smart play, good timing by them. This is going to be a Surf Bait. I know they're just one Hex away from their next move. I'm going to go for this next Thunder Punch on alignment. I don't love doing that, but I need to go for that unless I want to go down 2 shields. But they have a Sableye in the back. Why didn't... Oh man, I had so much like false hope this game. They bring in Sableye, and at this point, I don't think I have a lot of play right now. This thing's going to get such a huge energy lead. I have to swap out, and I can't shield this because there's an Azu in the backline. I think they got us here. Hypno was putting in a lot of work, but I think the Sableye in the back might just unwind our entire team. This Azu comes back in. We do reach a Brave Bird at the last second. This will be some nice chip damage, but I think they still have 2 shields, so I have to get through both shields as well as a full HP Azumarill, as well as a Sableye in the backline. I don't think there's a lot of play for us right now, but all I can hope for at this point is that maybe if a Grass Knot draws a shield from them, then maybe I can go for a Grass Knot against this, and then another Grass Knot against this, and then, I don't know, a Grass Knot against the Sableye, and that's maybe our win con. We go for a catch. I guess a good play by us here, but I think that's a little bit too little too late at this point. I don't think a Grass Knot is quite enough to one-shot right now. Our opponent likely realizes that they're probably going to go for the no-shield, and even if it did one-shot, that Sableye with a shield advantage would be very hard to take down. They do no-shield. I go for the CMP on the Rock Tomb, hoping at this point that, I don't know, I guess somehow they no-shield this, but if they no-shield, they still have the Sableye, so yeah, this game's pretty doomed at this point. They go for the Ice Beam, super effective damage into Cradily. At least I got that Rock Tomb debuff off into them. They bring in that Sableye here. Well played to our opponent. Not much I could really do. Poor Hypno tried his best, but Cradily once again kind of slacking. Next game is a Corviknight in the lead, and we saw this a little bit earlier in the video. Not a bad lead matchup for our Galarian Moltres, and if they don't boost on that first Air Cutter, it's even better than the first time that we saw. They go for that Air Cutter, does not boost their attack stat. Love to see that. Our Sucker Punch damage has honestly done as much damage as their Sand Attack, as well as their Charge Attack pressure, which is kind of funny to see, but they do just pace so quickly to these moves here. They get the boost on that second one, which really doesn't matter. That next Air Cutter would knock us out basically one way or another, and the Sand Attack still doing a very little amount of damage. Fly comes through, the next Sucker Punch, as well as the next Fly being thrown on what could have been a CMP with this Corviknight. They should knock him out or draw their first shield. Our opponent does actually shield this up, which is an interesting play. I'm going to shield myself. I don't think that 4 more Sucker Punches knock them out, though, so I might try to catch an Air Cutter if I can on my Hypno. We're going to go for the play where we wait a turn after 3 Sucker Punches, so that way we get that full Confusion Sneak once again. We catch the Air Cutter, and we have an energy lead against this Pokemon. We have a lot of energy as well on our Galarian Moltres, so we should be in a pretty good spot right now. Ice Punch, super effective damage into this Cradily. Do they shield this up? Will they let this go? Big question is going to be answered by they let it go. Okay, I'll take that. That's a lot of good damage against this Pokemon. I'm going to no-shield this. A Grass Knot would be close to knocking us out, but I think our Rock Tomb is easily going to be survivable by our Hypno. We no-shield, we survive, we go for the Ice Punch, and they might survive this, I guess, after that debuff. No, they don't. Okay, good stuff. Down goes that Cradily. In comes a Carbink. Absolutely love to see that Pokemon. Very fun stuff here. I know their Wincon is going to be going for a catch on that Corviknight at some point, but I'm not in a rush to throw a Grass Knot. I know that Corviknight is in Acid downrange, so if I see them just trying to farm up a lot of energy, then I know just go for Acids at this point. Call the catch. There's the catch. We can go for the full Acid down here. Double Grass Knot into that Carbink is going to be more than enough, and we're able to pick up the win. And with that, closing out the day here, 3-2 set, getting us a little bit, like halfway, I guess, through rank 12. Not too bad, but Shadow Hypno, I'm going to be honest, this Pokemon was so much better than I expected it to be. I thought it would be kind of like a fun niche pick here. Obviously, I didn't get answered by a lot of Sucker Punch users today. That would be pretty bad. But in general, this Pokemon is so safe, it's so spammy, and people did not realize just how quick this Pokemon could be. Its coverage as well can get a lot of good shield advantages for you. If you're not streaming your battles every day like I do, your opponents are not going to know your movesets, so you can land potential Shadow Balls, you can land potential Focus Blasts if you're running that. Hypno has so many options, it's a lot of fun to use, so give it a go if you have one loaded in your inventory. Alright, well, thank you so much for watching, take care, and I'll see you in the next one.